Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Oldbarn Homestead channel. My name is Gary, and you will not believe what all's been going on, and I think it's high time and finally time I bring you guys up to speed on a couple of issues and just let the world know. I mean, this stuff should not be hidden. Now, I know one of the things that everybody wants to see my videos, they want to know about the weather. They want to know what all's going on. And this is the town I live in, and a lot of people watch my videos and go, man, you need to do something about that flooding. And in the wintertime, when we get into the rainy season and it rains for days and days and days without stopping, this is what happens here. You see the shop is in pretty good shape there. There's no standing water around that, but I'll show you inside in a minute. But the issue is that the ditches don't drain here. And most of the culverts or tiles or whatever you call them that run under the driveways, they're so old and small, they're all just, they don't even pass any water through. Mine has got one here, but it doesn't, it's somewhere right in here, but it's all just clogged up. You can see the neighbors, that's next door to me there. I mean, so everywhere around here does this. Now, I'm not saying that there can't be some things done about it, and it is better. You see, what was that, a year ago or a year and a half ago, I had this driveway put in, and everything's raised up so that, I don't get as much standing water, but, it's still, you see all this was supposed to be draining off to that ditch, but that ditch is full right there on that little side road. And you see back there around the paint booth, that ladder fell down. It was so windy the other day. You can see the very bottom of the slab. You can see there's like 5-6 inches there, and so it's fine. And let me show you inside the shop. But I mean, we had, the whole area of Dallas, even up in Dallas, has gotten some major flash flooding and stuff. So I mean, it is what it is. So luckily, when I got back to the shop last night, after about 4 hours of driving through traffic, I came to this, which is not, this is not the worst thing in the world. I've had more than this in here before, but this is that issue you can see right here where I really need to get this fixed. I've made a couple attempts to get this fixed, and I've not had any luck doing it. But what it is the seam on this gutter leaks, and I made a patch and silicone the patch all in to get it to stop leaking, but it leaks when it rains like really hard. I mean, water just gushes down and hits that landing right there for the roll-up door, and then it just sort of creeps around the edge of the door and rolls in. It's just, I mean, I've shown this before, I know you guys are probably tired of seeing it, but I think on my last video I mentioned that what did I mention? I mentioned about my truck, and I was going to tell you guys something about it, and that's what I was saying, that I need to fill you in on something here. And as you can see, I got my truck back, and luckily those bald tires, I finally got new tires on there. And I ran those other tires down to the bone, and these are some $160 a piece cheapo. I don't know, the cheapest thing they had that would, just get me going. So they seem to ride okay so far. We'll see how long they last. The cheap tires normally wear out pretty quickly, so we'll see about that. Got a couple of metal art projects, and here's one of those 7-foot flags. I haven't made one of these, and I've only made about 4 or 5 total, and they're kind of a pain, honestly. But one of the good things that I found out, I think it was Craig, if I'm not mistaken, that one of the viewers that's also a friend on Facebook had pointed out that Fastenal now does shipping on anything on a pallet, and they will ship from store to store. So, and apparently they'll do it really inexpensively. So this guy contacted me and said, hey, give me your best price on this flag from eBay, and I sell them for $6.75 on there, plus $200 for shipping on a freight on a pallet. And I have to make a pallet for it, and I mean it's a lot of work. You know, a little small flag. Hey, I got boxes that are specifically fit for that size. I make them, paint them, put them in a box, and ship them. These, you know, I got to build a frame on the back of them. I have to make a pallet for them. So, I mean, they're not. When you go up in size, it just adds an incremental level of cost. But I'm interested. I'm anxious to try that Fastenal thing. The guy has a Fastenal in his area, the customer. So I just told him I'd knock $100 off, and I can't get a quote on it until I get the actual dimensions. So I'm kind of taking a gamble on that. You know, it may end up costing more than that. I don't know, but anyway, I got the sale on it, and it was good to get that. And I got a local church that I'm trying to give them a really good price on. I'm not really making hardly anything on it. And they got a really cool logo. So, and the good thing about it is they've kind of forced me to make some things out of aluminum, which I had never done before. And you guys may have saw the video on the other channel with me cutting that horse thing out. And that thing's around here somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Maybe it's back here. Yeah, there it is. So you guys may have saw the video I made on that. But the church is doing this new coffee bar thing, and they want a really cool sign made. So they want brushed aluminum letters and a blue dove, which is what their logo looks like. So I got to paint those blue if it ever stops raining. And they also had me do these filler panels here that are also aluminum, and these are going to go kind of like accent panels. They'll be embedded into some kind of a counter, you know, motif or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, guys, I just haven't made a video on this channel in a couple of days. A lot of people keep asking me about the CNC plasma table, and I really should be getting it any time now. And so you can see where I cut those doves out there. And so now I've got, you know, I don't know, a couple of weeks worth of work here that I've got cut. Now I got to paint it. And that aluminum wasn't, you know, like a standard set of, or a 16 gauge sheet metal that I normally cut the stuff out of, I think is now up to like, I want to say $59 when I buy it in bulk. And I had a whole bunch of sheets of it that I bought a while back, and I've gotten down now to not that many, maybe about 10 left there. So I got to go get some more of it. But anyway, so the aluminum is $99 for a 90 thousandths thick sheet. And that was my first. I mean, I've cut some little small pieces of aluminum, but I've never really cut any metal art out of aluminum. And I quickly figured out that, here's a failed piece. I quickly figured out that torch height control is not as responsive on aluminum as it is steel, because, you know, the way the torch height control works is it measures the arc voltage between the tip and the material, and it's constantly measuring that voltage. And when, you know, the voltage when the arc gets longer, you know, where let's say the material gets further away from the tip as it's cutting, you know, it knows to adjust down. And if the arc gets shorter, the voltage goes down because it's not having to, you know, arc across such a long path. And it, you know, but it works really good on steel. But that aluminum, I don't think it's just as good a conductor. And you can't run it. I couldn't run it as fast, and I had to be a lot more careful because, you know, you can see my table slats are kind of worn. And I know Jonathan, I'm not sure if he's watching this video or not, but he is talking about getting replacement slats, and I'm going to clean the table out. You know, so I don't know about if he's going to just put those slats in when he gets home, because my plan was this is what TrueCut told me, is you can reverse the slats, you know, take them out, flip them over, you know, maybe do a little cleanup on them so they'll slip back down into the slots. So anyway, I think they're probably 1x3 flat bar would be my guess from remembering looking at it. But on the aluminum, the torch height control does not react as fast. And it was just, like occasionally on steel, you'll see the torch, it'll go and take a dip down and get really close to the material. Oh, my point with the slats was, when you get slats that are kind of worn in the center from, just from most of the cutting happening in the center and not at the edge, you can't really see it, but there is a bow in this sheet laying on here, just because of tire on the edges. Well, cutting out these long pieces, where it would, let's say it would pierce, I cut those forward signs out going this way. So maybe if I had the pierce point here and it went out to the edge, well, when it got to the edge, the sheet's a lot closer to the tip and it's not adjusting fast enough. But, so that's just it's a learning curve, people, when you get a plasma table, it's like, you expect everything to just like work perfectly. Well, you have to figure out, what works and what doesn't work and how to make it work, and, this is not a $50,000 HD plasma table. This is the entry level table. It's been a great table. You've seen all the stuff I make on it, and it runs really well. You just have to, you see those doves, those really cut out nice, and I ran those at like 200 inches a minute. It just blasted those right out of there, no problem. So, just a little learning thing on the aluminum, and sacrificial piece here on the on it, but I can make something else out of that. I don't know what, but I'll figure out something. And I had enough anyway, I bought enough materials for that. But hey, listen, this thing's dragging on, and I get to talking and showing you guys stuff, but I know it's been a few days since I made a video on this channel, so this is some of what I've been working on. I went the other day. I'm always, buying materials for my the metal bender kits, and I'm cutting those out this morning. And it's 3 by 3 by 3/8 angle iron and a piece of 1/2 inch by 2.5 flat bar. And you see I got them gang stacked there because those two become the table and the fence on the rod bender. I call it metal bender because it really is a rod bender. You can bend anything with it, flat bar, round bar, tubing, whatever. But it's really kind of primarily designed to be a rod bender. I call it metal bender because when you make things generic on YouTube, people find it easier. If you had rod bender in there, people don't search for that. But a lot of people search for metal bender. So anyway, I've just kind of generically named it that in my own head. So I keep saying that, even though technically it's a rod bender. But so that's the table and the fence. And these are the exact same length. And so by gang stacking them, you kind of guarantee that you get them both perfectly dead on the same length. You see I butt them up to a stop there and cut those out. So you can see the rain happening again. All this rain we've gotten, it's still going to be raining all day today, and I believe tomorrow as well. And there's been a few thunderstorms. I heard it lightning and stuff last night, so you can hear the rain coming down. This metal roof exaggerates the sound of it. But last thing I want to tell you guys about was I need to really kind of fill you in on that's been going on. My truck was down for repair, and I finally got it back. And I don't think I ever told you exactly what was wrong with it, but I've owned this truck for 10 years, and I have ran it out of fuel. I would say maybe 2 times is what I'm thinking, because the gauge and the indicator, when it gets down to around 50 miles to empty, between 40 and 50 miles to empty, it's really on empty. And especially if you get it on a hill or something. So you can't wait for the warning light to come on. I don't know why it's that way, but normally vehicles are really conservative in that way. They'll say, like, when you get to 10 miles to empty, you really have 30 miles. They give you extra buffer in there. But this particular one is the other way. So I've ran it out of fuel a couple of times, and it's a real pain to prime it. You pretty much will, if you don't have access to being jumped off, you will kill the batteries trying to reprime that thing from the constant, key on, key off cycling. and starting it, trying to start it, and it'll eventually kill the batteries. If you're lucky, you can get it reprimed and started. So I've done that a couple times in the 10 years that I've owned it. But the one thing I have never done that I did this time that caused my latest problem was I filled it up with a full tank of gasoline. Gasoline! See you guys.